Hello YouTube audience. Today is June the 6th, 2021 and today I would like to do a maple marathon and to take a look and do some minor work on my Japanese maples. So this is the first one, which is a Japanese maple. The variety name is Fireglow, and you may be able to see the hardened off leaves. They looks like purple, but in fact they are a combination of red and green color. So they look like purple color, and the new leaves, they look absolutely red. Let's see how red you can see. So this is the new leaf. Here, new leaves look really like Fireglow. And this is the first year. It's in a bonsai pot. It's from a nursery stock. Before I turn it into a bonsai, I tried to air layer here, but the air layer failed, so I just cut it off. It may not have failed, but I just give up waiting. So that's that story. So today I'm simply going to do a first work on the maple. It's going to be very simple works. So this is the intended front of the tree. You can see there is a very small wire here intended to bring this branch down a little bit, and it has been there for over the winter, so I suspect that it has healed, so I can try to remove it. And yes, the branch has been holded in place and has enough growth to hold the position of the branch. It has cut in slightly, but it's very minimal, so it's going to heal in no time. Okay, so I'm taking off this one wire that's on the tree, and doesn't seem to have problem. So that is successful. Now the next thing I think I would need to do is to wire the apex up. So I'm trying to develop this branch. I cut off the original top, and now I'm trying to develop this branch into the new leader or the new apex of the tree. I cut this part off because it was a very straight section, and you can see these gentle movement along the line of the tree. So I cut it to a branch to create a new movement here. But the problem is this branch is, when it leaves out, it becomes so heavy that it bends down, so it's not upright enough. So what I would like to do is I want to bend this upward a little bit with the wire. I have some 3 millimeters, maybe a little bit too strong, but I think it's okay. 3 millimeter. I'm going to use a 3 millimeter wire to wire the apex up. That way it will hopefully form a true apex instead of a branch that's hanging downward. I'm not intending to let this be a branch, but I want it to be the apex. So I want it to stand up a little bit more. So I'm getting a wire, 3 millimeter wire, which is very thick. Hopefully it's aluminum wire, and hopefully it's going to have enough holding power to hold this branch up, because I'm growing the tree on my balcony, so there is significant wind, and I hope that this wire is going to hold it against the wind. I'm not going to do the 2-branch principle here because there is no other branch that's as thick as this one, so I'm simply going to try to find a place to hold the wire, and then bend it from there. Coming from the bottom of the branch because I'm trying to get the branch to stand up. I'm not really making the coil very tight because I don't want it to bite in too quickly. I want it to hold the branch for a while. So I'm not wiring it really tight. I'm wiring it quite loosely. also because I'm not making very crazy bend. So I think this should be okay. So the last coil, I just use a plier, a gym plier, to bend the last coil because it's more difficult to bend in the last round. Okay, so I think it's just loosely wired in, and now I want to bend this upward, just slowly. Okay, this branch is still quite soft. And note that I'm not going to just bend the whole thing upward. I'm going to think long term. In the long term, I think this one, I hope this one will be the leader. So after bending this upward, I'm going to bend the rest of the branches actually downward while keeping what I would like to be the apex up. Oops, I broke this branch. Okay, I don't think I can bend it downward as I wish. So I'm just going to keep this up and see if these branches survive because I break it. So the original plan is to bend this upward and try to take this one as the leader and bend the rest of it down so that it doesn't compete with the original, the designed apex in my heart. But I was not able to bend these branches down. It actually started to break when I try to bend them down. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bend it down. What I'm going to do is see, because I break this branch, you may not be able to see it because it looks tiny, but it still broke. So this branch, the top of the branch may not survive. I'm trying to bend it back a little bit so that hopefully it's going to survive. That's the hope, but it may not. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's a sacrificial. It's intended to be cut off anyway. So that's fine, but as the apex, as the sacrificial branch, I actually don't need all these leaves here to compete the sunlight with my intended apex, which is this tiny little branch. So I'm going to reduce some of the leaves on the sacrificial top. Okay, so the top is not that cluster with leaves, and hopefully it's not going to compete with the apex too much. So that's that. And now I would like to bend the apex, the intended apex, up a little bit so that it has the tendency to grow upright and have more energy that way. So it's a very short apex here right now, so I don't need much wire. And also, I don't have a second branch to do the 2-branch principle on, so I'm simply going to wire it along the major wire. That way, hopefully, it's anchored enough to get this branch upward. We don't need a lot of holding, we just need a little bit. Okay, now I can try to slightly, very gently push this up. Hopefully this is not going to break on me. Okay, so this is my future apex. I think if this sacrificial apex right now, this is completely sacrificial, survive, I may not need that much branching on it. But let's see, I still think it's too dense. I want a sacrificial top, but I don't want it to compete with my actual designed apex. So I'm going to reduce it further, get rid of several more April leaves, so that it doesn't compete that much with my actual apex. So the trunk line in the future will go this way, and from the trunk to right and then to left. So that's what I hope for. Sacrificial, I will just let it grow, and if it live, it live. If it die, it's okay, because I break the branch while wiring it. My intended apex is completely intact, so there is no problem with it surviving. Okay, let's go back to the front and take a look. It looks pretty good there. So then I'm just going to need to do some tiny things here and there on this tree. It's not major work at all. Okay, so here we have a single node, and from here, because above that node I cut off the original apex, so from there we have a lot of sprouts on the node below that, because it's gaining apical dominance. It used to be just a branch, now it's the apex, so we have a lot of sprouts sprout out here, so we will need to reduce it. We don't need that much sprouts come out from one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of most of it while keeping one good one that I think is coming up on the right direction I want. And I can make these into cuttings. Here we have a stump here. We can try to clean up that stump. Let's see. Just need to make sure I don't accidentally clean up the one that I actually want to keep. Okay, so this one is the one that I actually want to keep. So the rest of it I can clean it a little bit more. While just leave one shoot that I'm actually going to develop. So we can come back to the front. Let's see. From the front view, it's coming, this branch is coming at the right place but not at the right angle. So what I can do is I can wire it downward a little bit to guide it into the correct angle. I really don't need a lot of holding power here. So I only use, I think this may be a half mil wire, half millimeter wire, and I only need to guide it downward a little bit because I don't want it to be too contrived. If it's completely moving downward, it would look like a pine. So a maple or a deciduous tree, they normally, the branch structure, they move upward a little bit and then out and down if it ever go downward. So I simply moving it down a little bit, not too much. I think I may have just bend it down for maybe 30 degree, or even 20-degree angle, just not straight up. Otherwise it's completely fine. I'm going to keep the whole shoot for it to help to set the branch. If I can cut it off here and encourage ramification or bifurcation of the branch right now, but it's going to slow down the process of setting the branch because I just wire it down. I want it to have sufficient growth to set the branch in place in the right angle. So I'm not going to prune it short because I'm hoping this new growth is going to help set the branch. So that's that branch, and then let's continue to move downward and see. Then it's this branch. Let's take a look at this branch. So it's coming out from a very nice angle, and here is a bifurcation. And when we have a bifurcation, so a lot of people, especially those who are mainly influenced by the Japanese bonsai culture, may try to make this into a flat pad. In every bifurcation, then you can, when there is a bifurcation, what we can do is we can wire it, so if we wire it that way, it's going to be flattened and form a flat pad. But I actually like the more three-dimensional design of a tree, especially for a deciduous tree. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to wire this bifurcation into a three-dimensional design. So I have a piece of throwaway wire that's from I think tying a tree in the pot. It may be a little bit too long. I may choose another wire. I don't need a lot of wire. I just need to hold these two branches. So what I'm going to do, instead of making a flat, making the two branches horizontal to each other, I'm going to increase the difference in elevation of the two branches. That's what I'm going to do to make a more three-dimensional design instead of a two-dimensional, a flat pad, so-called. Again, I'm wiring it very, very loosely. I'm not wiring it tight because I know that Japanese maple grows so fast, it's going to bite in very quickly, and the bite-in mark doesn't heal very well, unlike a conifer such as a pine tree or a juniper, which you can wire and you can let it freely bite in, and it's going to heal pretty fast. So I'm going to bend this downward. Hopefully it's not going to break on me. Okay, while moving this one upward. To create a difference in elevation. This is, I think, how the branches actually compete with each other in nature. One branch will take the upper space and receive the sunlight that comes from the top directly, and the other branch is going to grow downward to receive the diffused sunlight coming from the out of the shade of the top branches. So that's my understanding of the deciduous tree growth habit. So instead of letting this grow flat, I'm wiring one up and the other one down. I'll be able to do it a little bit more, trying to exaggerate it a little bit more, because I know this how easy it is to break. I'm just going to be very, very careful. Okay, one is growing up, the other is growing down. Again, to set the branches, I'm not going to prune it. And then here we have a dead stump here, which I can remove. This stump is in a tricky place, tricky location. So I just try to prune it, or just let it rot. I don't have to clean it by now. This one, I was hoping there would be something sprout out, but it didn't sprout out. But if you can see here, there is a red thing that's appearing. So in every node, so here is a node, here is a node, here is a node, there is chance that new branch will sprout out from there. So I was hoping that here would be some branch come out, but this thing died back. So instead, there may be a branch coming out from the base of this node. This is a very tiny thing. I don't know if I zoom in to the max, can I simply show you that? Okay, 6x, it's max. I maxed out my magnification, and I hope I can show you that there is a red bud here, and it's possible it's going to create a new shoot. And when it grows out, it may be in an even better angle than the original branch I intended for. So it may be great. I don't know if you can see it or not, but hopefully you can see that. You probably cannot see it. Well, but if it's sprout out, I will show. Okay. I think this is it for this maple. I have examined mostly every node here. I'm not going to take this out right now because I worry about disturbing the little bud on the base. And we also have this node. The shoot I cut has died back, so to this node, and this node has sprouted out new shoots, so it's developing well as expected. Okay, I'm going to wait for maybe 2 months and check back later. And if this branch is set, I'm going to cut it short. Now is June. I think 2 months later it would be August, and we still have time to do a pruning there. Okay. So one more thing I need to do. I will need to wipe this pot a little bit so that it's look clean. And also I would need to fertilize the plant. We have a lot of flower petals that drop on the pot and the plant, so I need to remove those. I think this Japanese maple is already in perfect bonsai soil, so it won't need to be repotted for several years. The longer you wait to repot, while it's sitting in a good bonsai soil, such as 50% akadama, 50% pumice, and with a good top dressing, which prevent the sun from degrading the akadama, the finer the branches and leaves developed. So we should not try to repot too often unless the tree is totally root bound and start to lose drainage. So that looks good. Now I just need to fertilize. So I'm going to use this Lily Miller acidic plant food. It's a 10-5-4, so nitrogen is 10, so it's a relatively high nitrogen fertilizer. And I'm going to add a little bit of this new thing I found. It's called root zone mycorrhizal fungi with beneficial bacteria. So several years ago, these are still not seen on the market, but recent years we see a surge on these products. Maybe the technology has advanced and we are able to extract, people are able to extract these beneficial fungi and beneficial bacteria. So that's good. I'm going to try it out. Don't know if it works or it doesn't work, but no harm, make no harm to try it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these fertilizers and beneficial fungi and bacteria into a tea bag and add fertilizer to it and pin it down to the soil. So these bacteria, we can add it when we repot the tree, add it to the soil, mix it up with soil. It's not fertilizer, so it's not going to burn the root. It's just going to help the root. It's going to strengthen the root. I just put a little bit of the fungi and bacteria in there. And I'm going to put some fertilizer on top of that. The bacteria and fungi should help to break the break the fertilizer down and help the fertilizers to get into the soil. And also, it's going to benefit the plant because it forms a symbiotic relationship with the root of the plant. So it actually helps the plant absorb nutrition and also fight disease and disease and insects. So I'm going to put it halfway between the trunk and the lip of the pot, and I'm going to use a pin to pin it down. This way it's a little bit more difficult for animals to get to it. It's yeah, but still, if the animal want it, they can take it. The animals like bird and squirrels, they like the smells of a lot of the fertilizer. So then if you just put it on the soil, they are going to take it. And with the bag, the tea bag, it's a little bit more difficult for the animals to take it, but they can still take it. But there is another benefits putting it in a bag, is that it holds the majority of the debris of the fertilizer you put in. That way, it's not going to impede the drainage of your soil. So that's why it's good to put it in a tea bag. And you always see where you fertilized the last time, and the next time you can fertilize at a different location. Halfway through, and this when I pinned it down this way, you have one side that's has 3 layers of paper, one side that has 1 layer of paper, and the 1 layer of paper always face downward, so that it's in good contact with the soil. Relatively good, but still there is a layer of paper in between. So the tea bag is not mandatory, but it has some benefit to it. I'm going to put four tea bags. This method also, because the fertilizer, they are not just randomly sprinkled on the soil. It's going to form a gradient of fertilizers. So at the place where the bag is placed, it has highest concentration of fertilizer, and when it's further away, it has lower concentration. So this concentration gradient is going to encourage the root to seek out the fertilizer. So it's going to guide the root to grow. So you can see I'm putting it radially, the bags radially around the trunk of the tree. I hope that by doing it this way, I'm going to encourage the root to seek out the fertilizers and to grow in a radial pattern. fertilizer will make the bacteria very, very happy, and also the plant very, very happy. And the bacteria will make the plant very happy. So Peter Rowland has interviewed a microbiologist on beneficial bacteria, and she said the bacteria, beneficial ones, they are like fish and sheep to the tree. The tree actually farm the bacteria to help them absorb nutrition and fight infections and diseases. So it's like giving them animals they can farm and provide their food and help them grow this way. And simply giving them nutrition like a chemical fertilizer is like directly providing them the food they need. And the benefits of providing them animals they can farm is they strengthen themselves in the process of farming them, versus when you only provide them food, they can eat it and grow big, no problem, but they don't strengthen themselves during the process. So that's the theory behind why we add beneficial fungus and bacteria to the plant. They actually not just help the plant absorb the nutrition, but also they strengthen the plant. Okay, we are out of focus. Let me focus it again. And I think this is it for this video. It has been 50 some minutes already. Although I know audience prefer the short videos, but I actually like the long videos. It's so much more laid back and you can share a lot of information, and the short videos, they are more for fun, or maybe people who don't know much about bonsai, they just want to take a look at a lovely tree, and that's also fine. So I'm doing both of it. Although nobody like to watch a long video, I'm still doing it. My channel, the main purpose is a learning channel, not a teaching channel. So I document what I did in the process of learning to do bonsai, and I can look back and see what kind of mistakes I've made and what things I've tried. And even more importantly, it served like a diary when I did these things and what kind of responses I got from the plant. So I think the video actually served this purpose well. So I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay. So this is this video, and I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Bye.